Hi everybody, it's Ron again with more context and commentary for today's headlines. And as you see today, we're doing something a little bit different. It's showing off because I'm at the beach, so I wanted to show you the beach. I can't quite get myself, I kind of look dark, but anyway, we're not here to see me. We're here to see the beach and maybe look at these headlines. So today, we have the long-awaited incursion into Gaza that Israel is doing in retaliation for the terrorist strikes in their country and the taking of hostages, of which there are supposedly over 200 still there. And this group of headlines does show sort of the way this new conflict in the world is roiling up, more fears of trouble in the world. You know, we have this idea, and we've mentioned this before, Putin accused of forming axis of terror. You know, they've invited Hamas leaders to Moscow. They're getting closer with Iran. We know that they're receiving arms from North Korea, and this is because of the isolation that Russia has found themselves subject to after the invasion of Ukraine, which I believe, I'm almost certain that when they invaded Ukraine, they did not think there would be such a complete and total outrage against what they were doing. Obviously, I think Russia believed that because of the natural gas pipelines that had been built at great expense into Europe, that Europe was on the hook, and that Europe didn't have any sort of leeway to have sanctions against Russia. And Europe and the West, we thought the opposite. We thought, oh, they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars a week, so they wouldn't jeopardize that over misbehaving, but miscalculation. So a tank's entering Gaza. We've been waiting for this. This is sort of a delayed situation. This is a sign of the apocalypse, probably something very troubling. I don't know why this is so troubling to me. This is New York Times help wanted ad. They see that they're looking for an AI editor to start publishing stories. So what they're going to do is apparently see if they can get rid of those pesky humans who write news stories, and they get this AI to now they say it's generative AI, which I guess it's creating it, but I don't think there's a lot of transparency with how these systems work. And as far as I can see, it's just an aggregation, so it will look at all these other stories and then cobble together a bunch of junk, and then they get this one editor to kind of edit it and fix it up so it doesn't sound like AI, and thus they don't have to hire these reporters. So this is another real devaluation of journalism that we saw, you know, over the past 25 years with the advent of the internet, which was bad enough. And some of these newspapers, like the Washington Post and the New York Times and others, have found somewhat lucrative models of subscriber-based services. You know, people that used to be a newspaper, you'd have to buy the newspaper, and you say, well, no one would buy the online content. But people do that, and I've done that before. But this is something, and this is a bridge too far. You know, people always talk about the dead internet, meaning all the stuff that's being generated by bots already, that comments and reviews and likes on YouTube videos are generated by machines, and now we have AI creating the content, and pretty soon it's going to be all junk. Which you look at some of these news sites, and the articles seem to be junk already, even before this AI thing came out. We have more chaos about an anti-Semitism over the situation in Gaza and Israel. You know, it's a difficult situation when the Hamas it's not really the valid ruler of the Gaza. They came to power in a coup while the Palestinian Authority is still in charge in the West Bank, and they're holding all those hostages. So I think it would be difficult to throw your weight behind them. Here's Kanye, a very weird situation. This is Adidas lost hundreds of millions when they were forced to cut their ties with him when he started saying more crazy things. I don't know if I should say this, but a lot of the things he said, I've known a lot of black guys in my time, and it's something. Some of those viewpoints are things that people say to themselves in those communities and say privately, but Kanye sort of, the cork popped off and he said it out loud. So, Maine shooting suspect found dead. It's that guy who shot 22 people. It's kind of unusual that usually a person like that is shot right away or he kills himself, and he was on the lam for a couple days and apparently he shot himself. More weird racist stuff. Endemic violence in rural Arkansas. Again, this is, this site is, it'll rile you up with its sort of rabble-rousing headlines. So you got to be careful. You have to realize if some of these articles are indicative of a trend or it's just some weird outlying thing that the media is amplifying, and then Drudge is even amplifying further. More stuff. They don't like Elon Musk anymore. Elon's X is tilting right and sinking. I always wonder about the doom and gloom headlines about what Musk is doing, because I've heard that for years that he seems to be holding on. They said all those things about his Tesla that it wasn't going to work, and I think Elon Musk also is someone who overpromises and talks too much beforehand as well, before things come to pass. More of this. Priests abused a lot of kids. What a weird thing. I don't know. Robot dog talking. This person, 91-year-old, just opened barber shop. Just too happy to quit. It's a kind of a typical feel-good human interest story. People left in comas after fake weight loss shots. Okay. More craziness in Mexico. Ohio serial killer. Not a lot of feel-good news there. Yesterday we had a big drop in the stock market. There's more fears, in gold outperforming the stocks. Wall Street braces 1.5 and further borrowing needs by Treasury. The U.S. has racked up a huge bill to stave off recession for a long time, inflating the currency by trillions of dollars every year or so. And it's been maybe a little too long for a nice deep recession. So I think people are feeling that might be on the horizon, especially with the uncertainty of the next election coming up. Here we have more on Dems taking on Biden. This was something we talked about yesterday, where anytime when you have an incumbent who's running for president and he has an actual good challenger in the primaries, it doesn't bode well for his re-election attempts. And this is sort of the first real chink in the armor there, where we have somebody, an actual congressman going to challenge him, and this is not a hopeful sign for him. It shows weakness that they could not tamp that down, stave that off, get everybody in line behind Biden. I don't know. Let's see. more weird stuff about race. Race has become such an interesting and a big subject again. We had so many years with people not wanting to be identified with their race, and that changed a lot. And I think there are lots of reasons. One of the major ones, was the realization that the endemic racism, especially in policing, is quite rife. That people of all races sort of feeling like black men needed to be treated more harshly or strictly, or were more dangerous, and that's caused a lot of public unease with the police and where we are in relation with our black brothers and sisters. I mean, certainly you can always say there are people who go too far in wanting to disband the police, but on the other hand, you want to have a society where every person, every taxpayer feels like the government is their government and it works for them, and they are not painted with a broad brush of negativity. Yes. This is a thing, a mention of Disney's Snow White. Apparently, the release date has been delayed for one whole year. It was going to come out early next year in 2024. They're delaying it to 2025. If you're on YouTube with any of the many people who just have fun slamming these so-called woke properties, and they are woke, but it's really just poorly written cliches where they're recycling so many different properties, and I don't even want to watch those anymore. But I love to watch all these YouTube videos where they're making fun of them and dunking on them. I guess this article came out before the release date was delayed, but anymore, all these apparently awful Marvel movies, I don't really want to see them anymore. I liked the first group of Marvel movies when they came out, up to the Infinity Wars stuff and Endgame. But after that, I'm more interested in watching YouTube people make fun of them. And it's when something like Velma comes up, I don't want to watch it, but I'm excited to watch YouTubers making fun of it. It's entertaining. I'm sure it's be more entertaining than the show. There's that funny thing by Goldie Hawn from yesterday. Morgan Freeman warns of imminent apocalypse and human extinction. Yeah, I don't know. You probably shouldn't listen to weird pronouncements from movie stars. I'm not sure why we think they know more than we do. Outlaw militias reign over Rio. I'd love to go to Brazil sometime, but you hear all of these stories about how crazy and crime-ridden it is down there. Super mafia fears as heads of biggest crime families seen at secret dinner. Mother wins court case to evict son in 40s as a parasite, like that movie. And unexplained signals coming from human brain white matter baffles scientists. I think most of the time when you see these articles where you talk about health matters or science matters, and they say scientists are baffled. I think most of the time you find no one is just saying, "Oh my gosh, we're baffled." I don't think that's a real scientific method to throw up your hands and say, "Oh my gosh." I think normally they just say, "Well, from the best we can see, we're not sure, or it's this or it's that." But this is just interesting headline writing there. So I'm sitting here on the sand and my back is killing me. So we had some interesting news items today. Again, this is one of those days where there's items that are sort of the same as yesterday. think it was Edward R. Murrow said, or somebody said, a news guy said, the news is always the same thing happening over and over to different people. So anyway, that's another day of news, looking at the headlines from the beach. It's kind of a little experiment here. And so I will see you tomorrow for more headlines or something interesting that comes up. So until tomorrow, bye-bye.